Hello everybody and welcome back to Random Vids. So we have Wave 1, Wave 2, Wave 3, and now finally Wave 4. So Wave 4 came out last week on Thursday, March 9th, and I've played these tracks enough to determine which one is my personal favorite and which is my least favorite. Honestly though, it is so hard to find which one of these tracks is my least favorite, because honestly they did such a good job with the Wave 4 tracks, it's hard to find a bad track. So unfortunately though, one has to be, I guess, last. But before I'm beginning, I'm just saying they're all really good, so it's hard to find like a bad track. But I guess we shall find one. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started. So let's go to number 8, which is... So yes, here at number 8 is Amsterdam Drift. Like I said, it's so hard to pick my least favorite in Wave 4. I guess my least favorite would have to be Amsterdam Drift, but I mean... It's not even a bad track, it's just not quite as fun as the other tracks. That's how good Amsterdam Drift is, and all these other tracks. It's just so hard to pick. So, yeah. So Amsterdam Drift is kind of like the London Loop, Paris Promenade, and New York Minute type of track. It's that beginner type of track that doesn't really have too much in it, but like it's cool enough, but it's like there's not too much in it to make it really like awesome or anything. I feel like this is a lot better than London Loop though, this track. London Loop literally has nothing in it that's cool besides like the bridge. But here they've added a lot more to it, like the whole flower section at the end, this water section. I feel like it's better than London Loop in my opinion, but this track, it's pretty good. It is a little more on the flat side, so like I said, if I had to pick my least favorite in Wave 4, I guess it would go to Amsterdam Drift, but there is a lot of good tracks, so this is just barely worse than like some of the others. At least it has some really good music. Like I like the music in Amsterdam Drift here. It's really catchy and all. It's nice here. It's nice playing like the tour tracks because I've never played Mario Kart Tour, so it's so cool that they've done this thing booster course. I was never really a big fan of it at the beginning, but like now that I can actually play it, I'm all for it. Anyway, nothing much else I really have to say. It's a fine track, and yeah, it's my least favorite, so yep. Let's move on to number 7, which is... I know, number 7 is Waluigi Stadium. Yet again, there's just no bad tracks in Wave 4, so it's just so hard to pick, like, ones that would be, I guess, on this worser half of the list, I guess? It isn't even a below average track. I think this track's pretty good and all. I just feel like, you know, like, I've played the track before. I have Mario Kart Double Dash, I have Mario Kart Wii. I've played the track before. It's nothing new or interesting. It's just Waluigi Stadium. I think it's just because it's a Waluigi track, and if you know me and Waluigi Pinball, then yeah. These anti-gravity sections here are really cool, though. I really like what they did with that to make the track, I guess, stand out a little more. Keep it a little fresh. This is the only anti-gravity that's in Wave 4, actually, which is kind of funny to see. But you know what? It's funny because this is the only track in Wave 4 that has come back in a Mario Kart game, and that one was Mario Kart Wii. All the other, there's only 4 retro tracks that aren't Tour or New, or the new one, which is kind of silly, so there's only 4, and only one of them has come back, and it's this one, because it originated in Mario Kart Double Dash, and it came back in Mario Kart Wii, so yeah. I think it's kind of nice that they still have the little half pipes here, and that they still have the It's cool how they, I guess, updated this section right here to make it look a little, I don't know, just to refresh it. And I like the textures of the dirt as well. It looks a lot better than, I guess, how it originally looked. And this section here was annoying than Double Dash because of how awkward the controllers are. It works so much better in this game. That's all I have to say. Although, I guess the weakest part about this track is just, I don't know, the music. That's what's the weakest part of this track. Ugh. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely a better remake than the original. Like, I do take this remake over the original. But this song is just so annoying. If you saw me last week when I ranked all the Wave 4 songs, this one was number 8. It's just so annoying in my opinion. I don't know what it is, I just hate it. It's terrible, but you know what? I'll take the remake over the original, that's all I'll say. Overall, a fine track to have in Wave 4. This one got leaked anyway, so I mean, we knew it was going to come sometime. But yeah, anyway, let's move on to number 6, which would go to... So as you can see, here at number 6 is Riverside Park. Wow, what an insane track that I did not think was going to come back. But I'm honestly so happy that it did. Back when I was predicting the rest of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe booster courses, I forget if I predicted this one or not, but as time went on, I really grew to really like this track and won it in Mario Kart 8's booster course in the worst way. Next to Sunset Wild, of course. But I mean, that's another kind of leaked one that we'll most likely get in another wave. But wow, I didn't actually think that we were going to get Riverside Park. It was a dream. I was like, yeah, that'd be cool if they added Riverside Park. But man, this track is just so underrated. Everyone says Snowland's underrated. Yeah, I agree. I think this one's really underrated too, though. A lot of the GBA tracks that ain't Sky Garden are just so underrated. So it's nice seeing these tracks get the love that they deserve. It's nice seeing how awesome they look now too, especially compared to the Game Boy Advance version. And man, this track, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, maybe a little more on the flat side, but it's a Game Boy Advance track, so don't expect too much. Also, for some reason, we got these really cool piranha plant things that are just kind of waddling around, I guess. Which, yet again, just brings some life into this track. And man, I haven't even talked about the music yet. The music is really good. It's a lot better than the original. Let's be real here. The original was fine, but I mean, this one obviously is much better. Also, forgot to mention how, in Wave 1, we got, Toad Circuit and Coconut Mall, and Shroom Ridge even, and those tracks looked really, torrified in Mario Kart 8, but it's nice to see, in Wave 4, that these tracks could easily be confused with, any of the base game tracks. It's done... Nintendo has put a lot more heart into these tracks than they did, Wave 1, or heck, even at times Wave 2. So, yeah, Riverside Park is an awesome track, and I'm so happy to see it return. Anywho, now we'll move on to number 5, which is... So here at number 5 is Mario Circuit from the DS. Wow, this was very unexpected. It's one thing for Riverside Park, where it was in Mario Kart Tour, and it was kind of pointing in the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe direction. But Mario Circuit from the DS? What? Never did I ever expect this to come back in Mario Kart 8. If you remember, about, I want to say, a year and a half ago, I made a prediction video on Mario Kart 9, and I predicted Mario Circuit from the DS from Mario Kart 9. Well, would you look at that? My prediction ended up coming back a Mario Kart earlier to Mario Kart 8. That's just so crazy, and I didn't think this one was ever going to come back. I thought we were getting Airship Fortress or Delfino Square. But you know what? I'm happy with what we got. I'm glad to see this track back again, because this track is just so awesome. And man, they really breathed a lot of life into this track as well. Before it was good and all, but I mean, man, this remake is awesome. Like it's probably the second best Mario Circuit track, like, of all time. Number one, obviously, is Mario Kart 7 because you go through the castle and all, but man, they really made this track look amazing. I love the whole forestry section now with the wiggler and stuff. Like, ugh. And, of course, you can't forget about that awesome music playing as well. Honestly, probably my favorite, music from Wave 4, just because of how awesome it is. And I like the remake as well, that does a good job. And it's funny because literally, like, right after this has been confirmed for this game, then it got confirmed for Tour, so yeah. It's just odd because this track wasn't even in Tour. So, you know what? I'm glad with what we got. It looks super nice. And overall, yet again, just another good track that they brought into Wave 4. This one was so unexpected. With that, let's move on to number 4, which is... DK Summit. Look at this. This track also came back from Mario Kart Wii, but it's a lot better than Waluigi Stadium in my opinion. This is the true Waluigi Stadium. Mainly just because, I don't know, the music sounds miles better. Alright, now here's something that I never do when I'm playing Grand Prix, trying to do the shortcut. Well, I failed it. I tried. I did one, I didn't do the other. Anyway, wow, yet again, another unexpected surprise. I thought we'd be getting Koopa Cape in this wave, not freaking DK Summit. But you know what? I'm happy with what we got. But that just means we have to get Koopa Cape in the next wave, and then Rainbow Road in the last. I'm gonna have to redo my predictions because everything just got all out of whack. And because there's only 16 more tracks coming, so I think it's a little easier to narrow down my decisions at this point, so it's nice. But man, DK Summit, this track is always a pretty good one. It's just as good on this one as it is on the Wii, and yet again, like Waluigi Pinball, I'm happy that they kept the half pipes. I mean, back in the original, it was basically, not really impossible, but it was a lot easier to use the half pipe. Like this section, for an example. Would you rather go the long way around the snow or take the half pipes that are a lot faster? I think it's kind of obvious here. And man, the music, the remake music sounds really good. A lot better than the original, let me tell you that. Well, I guess the original didn't sound bad, but it's like, I think the remake sounds a lot better. And overall, I think it looks a lot better too. Like, this track, yet again, like Mario Circuit and Riverside Park, haven't come back in a Mario Kart, a main Mario Kart until now. And overall, it just looks so nice. And I'm happy to see this in Mario Kart 8 now. They did a good job with all the snow textures as well, so you know what? I'm happy with what we got. But I think if we were going to get 2 more Wii tracks, I would pick Koopa Cape and Rainbow Road. So, yeah. Nothing much else I have to say about this track. It's an awesome one, and I'm happy that it came back. So, with that, let's move on to number 3, which is... Well, number 3 is Singapore Speedway. Honestly, at this point, all 3 of these tracks, this one, number 2, and number 1, could all be interchangeable because all 3 of them are just amazing. Oh, I love Wave 4. If I had to rank all the waves, 3 would probably be my least favorite. And then probably 1, then probably this one, and then 2 is my favorite, just because there's so many awesome tracks in 2. Anyway, back to Singapore Speedway. There's just something about this track that just makes it feel, I don't know, just really like, it almost feels like you're on vacation, like in a very tropical place, somewhere very south, don't know where, but I don't know, maybe China, I guess, because you have this little Chinatown section. And is China south? I don't even know anymore. Anyway, I'm getting too much off topic. It seems like I said, you're at some sort of resort and you're just driving around the area, exploring it and stuff. And it's overall just a really good time. And, that music is just awesome. It's super catchy. I love the music in Singapore Speedway. And look, lap number 3 isn't even, on the same, I guess, area, whatever you want to call it. You go in a completely different area for lap 3, and man, this track just feels like really open, and you can really explore it a lot. Unlike a lot of the other tour tracks, where it kind of feels like you're kind of just stuck in an area, this track just makes me, it just a lot more open, and like you can explore a lot more. And this track is just so much fun to drive around. The background is awesome. Like, I don't know what else you have to say. I don't know what, I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say about it, but it's an awesome track. And it's definitely one of my favorites in Wave 4. Now we just need Vancouver Velocity and I'll be happy. Well, might as well have the other two as well. But anyway, a very good track, and I'm happy it came back. Let's move on to number dos, which is... So at number 2, I have Bangkok Rush. Oh, what a fun and interesting track. You know what's funny that I noticed about Wave 4? Is that almost all the tour tracks have to have some sort of Ferris wheel in it. Wave 1 was Tokyo Blur. Wave 2 was Sydney Sprint. Wave 3 was London Loop. And this wave is Bangkok Rush and Singapore Speedway, which is kind of cool. And maybe Amsterdam Drift, I don't know. This track and Singapore Speedway honestly could both be like really interchangeable. But those two are just so close because both tracks are honestly a lot of fun. This track, I think Singapore Speedway is a little more open, but I feel like the places we visit in Bangkok Rush are a little more interesting. Like, it's a bunch of more different places, if you know what I mean. Sort of. I don't know. But there's a lot of cool sections, like the part where you go up the thing and fly, the water part, the part where you drive through a parking garage like New York Minute. You can drive up on the subway if you want. Like, it's a lot of different pathways. This track is it's the Tokyo Blur, Sydney Sprint, Berlin Byway type of track, where it's like it's the second tour track, so it has to be better than the first one, right? And yeah, I agree. Here's that parking lot thing, by the way. And I almost forgot to mention this part over here, where you drive through these little tent areas and stuff. They act like the mushrooms from Mushroom Gorge, which is hilariously funny. And yep, up here's the little train that I guess you can drive on as well, which is really cool. The only negative thing about this track is the music. I don't mind the music, I think it's pretty good, but I mean, it almost seems like a little repetitive in my opinion. It's not my cup of tea. It's good, it's not the worst song I've ever heard, or the worst tour song I've ever heard, but I've definitely heard better music. So, this is probably my least favorite tour song that we got in Wave 4, but it's fine. Like, I don't mind it, but it's alright. Tour track-wise, I really do like the track. Anyway, let's move on to number 1, which is... So number 1 is good old Yoshi's Island. Yeah, that's the track name, right? Man, this track is just full of surprises. I really like what they did with this track. This is the brand new track. And oh boy, it's such a good track. Like, all the new tracks that they had that they added are really good. Well, Ninja Hideaway, meh, but I loved Sky High Sunday, and of course this one is awesome as well. And of course, you can't forget that this track celebrates one of the best Mario characters, Yoshi. He's this adorable dinosaur who, I mean, everyone loves. Like, I've literally met no one who has hated Yoshi. There was so many different Easter eggs and stuff in here, like these Shy Guys that are walking on stilts, these penguin-like things, the different lands you visit, like the greenery, underwater, the castle, the sky, the snow, you name it. In the caves right here, those little things going up and down, these birds, the question block that spawns in that track. Like, there's just so much to this track that it just, honestly, it's probably my favorite. But like I said, this Bangkok Rush and Singapore Speedway could all be really interchangeable because I love all three of these tracks a lot. And it's just, like I said, it just depends on the mood that I'm on. This is the path I'm talking about. It almost looks like a xylophone. And would you look at that, it disappeared. But man, this track is just so much fun. And even, like, the coins are different, too. They have these, like, Yoshis on them, and they make a different noise. What's funny that I noticed about Wave 4 is that a lot of tracks have water in them. Like the Yoshi's Island, all three tour tracks, Riverside Park, like, what else need I say? The only negative thing about this track is the music. And it's not that the remake is bad or anything, it's just that I've heard this song so many times that it's not even funny. So the music, in my opinion, is weak, just because, you know, I've heard it so many times, and I honestly find it kind of annoying. More tolerable than Waluigi Stadium, but at least the remake sounds good, but I mean, it's not my cup of tea. But other than that, I like this track a lot. And heck, this track even has its own song like Big Blue and whatever that other one's called. It's just a really unique thing to, I guess, kind of celebrate this track. Instead of using the original Mario Kart 8 theme over and over and over again, it's nice to have something different, and it's a lot better than what we got in the Animal Crossing. Ugh. Overall, Wave 4 has so many good tracks. Like, there's no bad tracks. Waves 1 through 3, I could easily, like, find my least favorite track out of them all, but this one was hard. Amsterdam Drift is just too good, but yet again, it ended up being my least favorite. All of them are just so much fun, though, in Wave 4. They really did their homework when it came to the Wave 4 tracks. What will we get in Wave 5? Wave 6? What new characters are we going to get? Because as you can see, we got Birdo in Wave 4, and man, I'm glad they finally added Birdo. Now they just need to add more characters. So maybe in the future, as I said, I'll probably do another prediction video to predict not only the new, the 16 tracks that we'll get, but also the other 5 characters that we could get. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.